Okay, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about our thoughts and how we negotiate those thoughts. We start here because this is what is going to give us more insight into why we perceive things a particular way and how we deal with other people and other things in life. How we deal with tragedy, how we deal with joy, happiness, that sort of thing. Now, we do know, scientifically speaking, that your brain is comprised of a tight network of nerve cells, right? They're all interacting with each other. They're all generating some sort of overall electrical field. Now, this field is detectable by medical equipment. Is it detectable? You can detect these electrical signals. You can detect the field, and some scientists say that your brain waves are simply a superposition of a multitude of electrical states they're being formed from your nervous system. Not only your brain, but your entire body has an electrical field anywhere there's a nerve cell. This is an amazing thing that's happening inside your body. So if we really think about this, we have this machine that's working with this chemical electric, and our thoughts are working within that field. So if our thoughts are working in that field, and that field can be picked up by machines, it can be picked up by medical equipment, equipment that's designed to pick those frequencies up, those fields up, those electrical signals up. You have to understand that thought is our original way of communicating. Thought, not spoken word, was our original way of communicating with each other by sharing fields, sharing frequencies. So we didn't quite need, and we're talking about maybe millions and millions of years ago, before we even had the ability to come up with spoken word. We had the ability to tell or to dream of things before they were going to happen. Now, we're going to get into detail with this, and obviously what I'm speaking about is a philosophical view based off of science, but it is not science. So this is not something that's proven. It's not religion, but it's not science. These are sort of things that we have to deal with a lot of times when we're speaking about these things. These are truths, and you'll see them in your life, but they're not something that's necessarily been proven. So simply because I speak about the electrical fields in the beginning, and I'm speaking about how the brain works, that doesn't necessarily mean science agrees with the rest of what I'm saying. But this is something we have to acquire for ourselves. We can't wait till someone goes into a lab and figure these things out for us, because the human mind and the human thought processes will not be figured out in the lab first. It'll be figured out by you and me, the people who are living it, including the scientists. But the scientists can't say that, even though they're experiencing things like this, because they have to be able to reproduce it. They have to be able to reproduce it the same way. So while science catches up, we have to be able to take our own notes, and we have to be able to connect the dots. So the dots connect between the way we think and the way we communicate. There's many times where you probably walked into a room and you notice a person and you just don't like that person. You just have no reason not to like them, but you just feel that you don't like that person. Well, because your field is interacting with theirs, and you're in tune with that. So the first part of life is understanding how your brain communicates with other brains, how your brain communicates with the world around you. So just as those machines in the hospital can pick up your waves, your frequencies, your thoughts, your thought frequencies, other brains can do the same thing. As a matter of fact, that is an open network. It's an open network of brain frequencies. Every time you think to yourself, that's an electrical frequency. This is not a spiritual thing. No one else hears it, but there is a frequency, and that particular thought has a particular frequency. meaning someone else can pick up that frequency if they were in tuned. Can they translate it is another question. But they can pick up the frequency and how that frequency feels to them. They can't pick up exact words or pictures, but they can pick up what it feels to them. So in life, we have people who kind of use this to say, "Hey, I'm psychic. I know the future." Well, while it is true, and we'll get into this, and I'll explain how this works. I'll explain how psychics works. There is no such thing as a pure psychic. There is no such thing as a person who is always psychic, because we're not always in that state, nor can your brain always be in that state. Everyone has the ability because everyone has a brain. If you don't have the brain, then you don't have the ability. Your body has these frequencies that the brain incorporates to be able to come up with mental sentences. Now, we're going to go into more depth into this so you can get more of a clear concept of how to use this in everyday life. When you shake someone's hand, when you speak to someone and you hear the sound of their voice, when you go to an interview, when you're trying to get your point across, you first have to understand how the machine in your head works, how the brain works, and how the body works, and how these frequency works, and how these fields work, how to manipulate these fields. I'm not going to go into the scientific concepts of the fields, but I will go into the meditative tools you need to be able to manipulate these fields and to be able to consume other fields around you, while also helping other fields grow, other people grow. This part of the meaning of life is key, because this part of the meaning of life is communication, how your brain communicates with other minds without words, and how it manifests itself in actions and body movements. And maybe you have some addictions that you have and you don't know why you have them. Maybe you have certain prejudices that you want to get rid of and you don't know why you have these prejudices, because not everything is learned by simply hearing it or by simply seeing it. Your body is interacting with these frequencies. And now that cell phones and satellites exist, it's a mystery as to how this is interacting with our field, the fields that we create internally. But it won't be a mystery to you, because we'll be getting into that also. And how to choose your friends based off of these frequencies, how to choose the person you plan on spending the rest of your life with based off of these frequencies. So far too often, people get into relationships because they talk to the person, they like that. They hang out with the person, they like that. And, they eat the same foods and they hang out and everything's pretty much the same and they kind of like that. They'll deal with the things that they don't like over time. And they kind of like that. Then you find out after 2 years, the person is a completely different person and you wish you never married them, or you wish you never got in a relationship with them. All of that can be avoided if you first read the frequency, if you first understand that you have to talk to the person's brain before you talk to their ego, before you talk to the translation of what they are initially thinking. Does that mean you'll be able to read people's thoughts? No, but you'll be able to feel it through these frequencies, just as the machines in the hospital can detect it.